What's up, Hitbone?
Hey.
What's up?
Lev Kerr.
We have assumed names from a previous band.
Yes, you guys all have band nicknames.
Yeah, we were in two beloved bands together, all three of us.
Oh. Well, tell me how you guys first met, and if there was a band that predated Cover Me Bad.
I mean, how long do you have, Adam? Because there's some history.
He said up to 60 minutes. He said
It's going to be a 6-part mini series on Netflix. So if we get 30 hours of interview, we can edit it down.
Did you see the We Are the World? It was pretty good.
I just watched it last night. Yeah, last night.
Yeah, Greg, have you seen it?
Not yet. No.
Yo, Waylon Jennings walked it.
It's amazing.
One person left. It was Waylon Jennings, and it was because Stevie Wonder started to be like, "We should sing it in Swahili.
Yeah.
We should." And
deal breaker, total deal breaker for the country boy. That was amazing. Holy moly!
They didn't read Mr. Jennings' writer. No.
There'll be no Swahili. Holy moly. I guess I should say before we get too far into it, I'm here with 3 out of the 5 members of Cover Me Bad. And we'll get into why I am aware of this incredible band in a minute. But we've got Ryan, and how do you say your last name?
Zabolewski.
Is that? Oh, that's the whole one. I'm going to call you Ryan Z then, just for.
I think that's going back to
for purposes
coming over on the Mayflower.
Ellis Island did us all in. And then we've got, so Ryan was and will always be the trombone player for this band. And we've got Greg Altman. What did you play, Greg?
I was the drummer.
Okay. And Marc Levitt. And what did you play, Mark?
Guitar.
And were you guys...
One of a dual axe assault.
The weave, that's what they called it in Rolling Stones, the weave. So where are you guys joining us from today?
Ithaca, New York.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville.
And Queens, New York.
All right. Well, hello from California. Tell me your earliest memory of any 3 of you meeting each other, I guess.
Oh.
Okay. We're childhood friends. Take it, Hitbone.
Yeah, we grew up together in Larchmont, Mamaroneck, New York. The first time we played music would be the 3 of us. Is I think Mark and I, in 7th grade, were in a band called Vicky Morgan Satisfaction. And Ryan and I also were in the school band together.
Yeah. I think the first time I laid eyes on Greg was his 5th grade play. He was starring in Chatsworth Avenue School's production of Little Abner, and he started to and immediately I sensed his interest in young females actually in that show.
I think Waylon Jennings did the soundtrack.
Oh boy!
So were those early
that might
bands?
Not be right. He did a cover album.
Were those early bands covers, or were you guys already writing timeless original material?
Well, here I'll hop in. So, I'm a few years older than these gentlemen. I think we're by 2 whole grades. So that's
a lot.
Really big difference back then.
Yeah.
So when I was a freshman, I was known as a guitar guy, but I was without a band, and it was recommended to me that I play with these 2 young kids that were in 7th grade at the time. Greg being one of them, and the late great Dan Bingley on bass, and. So that was, we did some covers, but they were like Mahavishnu Orchestra covers and, like Buddy Miles covers. I mean, it was
them changes.
We were, that's kind of like, we were kind of like Jeff Beck's Freeway Jam, real nerdy, music-y stuff. And, but then we also have an amazing music teacher at Mamaroneck High School, Carl Stroman. And he also was kind of the connector for just anyone who was good. And there's a lot of great musicians who came out of Larchmont and Mamaroneck at that time.
Somebody I would have heard of?
Including Flea. He's before
I've heard of him.
No. Yeah. I mean, mostly just, Not yet. Let's just say
That's not true. That's not true.
yeah,
Is
Flea
it?
went to yeah. But that's
He did
way before our time.
Yeah, he grew up in way back.
But then we went on to form, like, I rejoined these guys later as part of a 7-person funk band called Uncle Funkle. I did not come up with that name. But talk about covers.
Yo,
So here's a funny story.
It's been great. Thanks very much, Adam. Pleasure.
End on that note.
Here's a true story. I didn't realize until years later that we used to play songs like Fat Cakes and Cold Sweat and a bunch of other original songs, but I thought they were all original songs. So later, I was like, what the hell? We were in like I don't know, it was like with my family in like a store, and I was like, why is my weird 7-person funk band on the radio? Like, but it was like, the JBs, and I was like,
I hope that they were all white.
unintentional
I hope they were all
covers.
white and telling you that
Yeah,
they wrote
exactly.
these like James Brown songs.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're pretty much all, a bunch of white Jew boys for the most part, with some notable exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's actually some major exceptions. I mean, but anyway, that's a large component of both bands, including Cover Me Bad. I think.
I mean, with
But
a
yeah,
name
so
with a name like
what is it?
Levitt, I would have assumed yes.
Of course. And
They are the high
Zawel.
priests. Just for a little cultural background, the Levitts are the high priests. They're the ones who get to wear all white at the high holidays, and if they're like the high level Jews.
His family, or just anyone with that surname.
Both.
Before we go any further, I was so entranced by the beginning of the conversation, I forgot to press record. So in case you guys were also so excited, press
No, that's
record
good.
if you can.
Don't use any of that.
I've got a backup of as soon as I said I was hitting record, so it's not something. But if you have a way to record it, cool. If not a big deal. So this is all high school that we're talking about.
High school,
No,
and
no.
then bleeding into college for me, like around, because I kind of think for Uncle Funkle, because I kind of rejoined that when I was in college.
Yeah, Greg and I have known each other since like elementary school, and then in middle school, and then the band, and then in high school we started to play together, and then through our school stuff, and then we would play in the city. We grew up like half an hour out of like downtown New York clubs, so we put ourselves out there as kids all the time, and we were kind of fearless and a lot of fun. 3 horns and a real good rhythm section, and then we grew up a bit. I know when our set actually, our bass player died, so that was a sort of a seminal moment in all of our lives, and things got real for many of us then, and we stuck with it with another bass player who's Pete Griffin, who plays out near where you are right now, and was the bass player for Zappa Plays Zappa, and he plays a lot around LA.
Oh, wow.
And
I always brag. He's like my favorite person to brag about. I mean, I always say like, take any Guitar World cover from like the mid '80s into the '90s, and like he's at the top of their call list if they're still playing. Like he was on the Generation X tour with Paul Gilbert and like Yngwie. He plays with.
Oh, wow.
Actually, my favorite thing to say is like, what do Steve Vai, Yngwie, and blah blah blah, and, all have in common? They all had the same bass player as me.
Nice. That's funny because we one of the last people to be a guest ranker on here is a guy named Mike Keneally, who's a guitarist who's played.
Oh yeah,
with,
he just did
Just
a
played
gig
with
at
him.
Baked Potato with him.
I figured.
Scott
I
Cummings,
figured
I
as
think.
much. I'm
Yeah.
like, he's gonna know that name. That's great.
Yeah.
And the band, and this band itself came. It was Greg's idea, and it came from when after the diaspora was over, after our college years, and the 3 of us ended up in the city with a lot of other friends, and Greg came up with the idea and called the session, and then we had a lot of fun.
I think we got to back up a bit because this Cover Me Bad actually.
Yeah, I want to
Cover
know.
Me Bad grew out of a comedy show.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It
It was not
grew-
my idea. That was not. It didn't come out of my brain.
I'm not saying it is
Okay.
or isn't. I'm just saying it. We have to go back kind of to the roots. So
Yeah, let's hear it.
I was already like, I'm back in New York. I'm like focusing on my career, and then I like put the guitar down for a good long while, and there were these sort of like Melrose Place, this building that I lived in, because like all of my friends from high school were there and whatnot, and like these two wacky girls who my roommate went to college with, they were comedians. They were always putting on like a comedy show, and they'd want some like little music in between. So they're like, Mark, you play guitar? And I'm like, I mean, I guess so. So I mean, it was weird. It would just be me, and then there was a couple of other like dudes who would just play like, you know, half-heartedly in between this comedy show. And then I guess my friend Jesse would do it, and then maybe we started doing it together, and they were like, we should get some drums. And then Ryan, you just fell into the picture, and then we were like we need a bass player, and that's when you were working with Jens. Now I might have oversimplified it.
I think Greg,
Have fun cutting this together. Okay.
True or
Greg's the
false?
missing link.
True or false, Mark?
What's that? I
Wait, what did you say? Oh wait, go.
I was saying true or
was gonna say,
false.
what I
You said
remember-
go ahead.
no, please go ahead, Adam. What were you gonna say?
You were saying I don't know if that's right or not. So I'm saying true or false. If you guys want to like confirm or deny anything that he just said.
Well, this is sketchy history that we haven't like brushed up on, so it might be a little off. But what I remember is the comedy show was going on with Anna and Lauren, and it was a KGB bar in New York. And I remember hearing that there was music being played.
It was called This Thursday.
This Thursday, correct. I remember hearing Mark and Jesse possibly playing guitar and giving it a shot and not really being good. They were playing in between the sketches, and then kind of being like, "We need a band," you know. And again, because we grew up playing together, and actually, side note, Ryan, myself, and Jesse had a band for about 5 minutes as well.
Okay.
An early version of a band called The Vitamin, but we were, I think, called The Fingers. I don't remember, but basically the band got together. I remember standing in my living room on Ludlow Street, and Mark, we were kind of talking about should we play originals or whatever, and I was like, just do covers. Like everyone likes covers. And Mark, I remember hearing Mark come up with the name Cover Me Bad, because he just went, Cover Me Bad? Like, you know, and that was a thing that we used to do in high school a lot. Like everything ended in a question, and I don't know why, but that's kind of what I remember very clearly. And then I remember, I don't know if Ryan was there from the start or if we thought of it very quickly, because it was like, we need a vocalist, and it was like, just do a trombone. Ryan, maybe you remember the first time that part came through.
I just remember you calling me, and we all met in the studio, and the first thing we played was da-na-na, da-na-na, and it was like, okay, here we go. I know how to. I could play guitar keys, and that, I remember Back in Black was like the first thing, and then it was like we were rolling, and then that's what I remember.
Those were so much fun. It was like a black box theater, and there was a lot of like up and coming comics there. Like, who was it?
Dimitri Martin.
Dimitri Martin.
Todd Barry.
Something. Todd Barry. You know, and it was hilarious. I mean, we were just, you know, we'd crack up, and then we'd play like our 15 seconds of songs, and they'd, you know, be doing their next thing. And then they got like a bigger gig at this place in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, called Galapagos. And it was like, this was like a real gig. And we played one show with them. And after the show, they were like, this is the way I remember it, was the guy was like, girls, you were really great. Guys, I want to offer you a weekly gig here. And like,
but he was sketchy.
Oh.
I'm sorry if he's watching here. I believe his vision was, it's important that people are able to talk to each other while you're playing.
Yes.
he was like, you have to be able to have a conversation like this, but not like this. Like this. Now you do it. And we're like we're like, what? Are you serious? You think we could do that? He's like, did you just say that in a performing voice?
Oh my gosh.
And it was great, but there was a problem. We didn't realize this, that we had only known like the first 15 seconds of these songs because we were just like sometimes we'd have to play longer like while the girls are doing like an extensive costume change.
Okay.
but generally it was like, just like, it was like the Tonight Show band or whatever, like.
Oh
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did the national anthem. That was right. When that.
Oh wow!
But we didn't have to.
But
know
that was it.
song.
That was all we had done. That lick.
So
you didn't even get to the horn part.
Not in the early days.
So you know how those things go when no one knows how to end a song. I mean, Greg, we just had that happen at Bowie's thing a couple of weeks back. During a jam, we're just like, okay. So we'd have to figure out. So then we were like, I guess we should like practice more. So we would, occasionally get together at Greg's place. Occasionally, go to a rehearsal studio. But Ryan's like the only guy who's a professional musician, So like he'd be traveling from way up in, Inwood, and he'd be coming down, and he's like, he'd expect us to be ready. And like, I remember there was one gig that like Jesse and I were like, oh wait, I thought you brought the amp. No, I thought you brought the amp. You gotta go back and get the amp, man. And like Ryan's just like, what the hell am I doing? But eventually, we got. We were always bad with 2Ds, but we became competent, and this gig was
not as catchy.
We really rose to the occasion. It's some of those gigs were so much
Cover
fun.
me
confident.
Cover me confident.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, cover me confident.
So when you guys were part of the comedy show, were you already using the name and now the Cover Me Bad guys will play something? Okay, all right.
Yeah, that came up pretty early, I think.
What year do you think that was?
I know it was before 9/11, so it was like 2000, 99, 2000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But we were,
and I think even probably a little earlier before we had the good sense to get you involved. Right?
and then
It might have been like 98.
And what we settled into after Galapagos was, well, actually, no. So, and then in 2001, then we moved to a regular thing at Arlene Grocery right around down the street from where Greg lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we
It was amazing.
played so many happy nights, man. We played we opened
Before.
we opened for
That's
heavy metal punk rock karaoke. Which
It was the
was
perfect
it was great. It was
matchup
so-
because
yeah.
we're quasi karaoke because there's no vote, we're an instrumental band,
right.
But with a rock star quirky presence, but people would go and you could sing along to the songs. So
And
we
they
were
were
always the
so
opening band
good.
for heavy metal punk rock karaoke, which
And
had
they were
a
so
huge
good.
draw.
They were so good.
So we always had
and
a built-in audience. It was great.
and we would sometimes hang out and sit. Like I remember playing Black Dog with them a bunch of times, and it was just fierce, man. I mean, they were great. And after a while, like it started to be this thing. Like people would sing along with us because we'd have. It was like.
I was curious.
But they would be singing, and people would be like singing like that. Like the people would be like, like
There would be air
I
tromboning.
really need you tonight.
They were air boning. That's for those in Podland.
Once upon a time, I was falling in love.
Oh my god. Okay, so I guess this is as good a time as any to say why I found these guys. In 1994, I was living in the Bay Area with some friends, and we decided to do some covers at a party, and my bandmate came up with the name Cover Me Bad. So I can't imagine that anyone came up with it before 94, because I think Color Me Bad was a thing in like 90 or something like that. So
Well.
I want to hear.
I think you might be giving a little, no credit to Miss Barbara. Wasn't there a Color Me Barbara?
Oh, I don't know about that.
That
What
was
is
the whole
this?
thing. Color Me Barbara with Barbara Streisand from like the 1960s. It like launched her whole career.
Oh, jeez. I thought you were talking about like only in New York would there be a review show called Color Me Barbara in like 1991, but that's not what you're telling me. Okay. Just
No,
to be
there's
sure.
like original source material from the 60s. I didn't know it at the time when, Color Me Bad came out, and I was getting my groove thing on.
Right.
But like, no, it's like, there's anyway.
Yes.
There's a Barbara Streisand movie.
And all this time, I thought it was a Dylan lyric.
Well,
or
okay.
or the replacements for me, Color Me Impressed, but
Yeah.
that's a whole different conversation. But
Okay.
I moved back
Let's get
to
the
San Diego.
provenance of-
Yeah, I'd never really done bands. I do not have your upbringing of being a great musician as a teen. I was very late in life, and I thought I can't do anything serious. I'm just going to do silly stuff. And I thought, oh well, I've got this name from 5 or 6 years ago, and so I did a boy band sort of parody show, and used the name Color Me Bad. And then I started doing other kind of silly cover bands, and they were almost all one-offs. But I thought I could just say, oh, it's Cover Me Bad Presents, and then whatever band I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And because it was either 99 or 2000, there was this new thing called the World Wide Web, and there's this huge history of coming up with a band name or an idea and not knowing if anyone else in the world had it. But now you could Google or whatever it was, Alta Vista. And so, you try and get the .com as quickly as you can back then. And I type in covermebad.com, and up comes a website built by one of you, maybe? Who would have put up a website for the band? Or was this a friend or one of you?
It might have been Jesse.
Or Jens even. Yeah, Jesse or Jens.
Oh, we've got to
Not us.
I
mean, it
I
does.
would have done the logo, but
It does bear
the-
mentioning what we were doing when we weren't playing. Like Greg here and our bass player Jens their day jobs were in like VH1 realm, and
That's how.
yeah.
Yeah. We left out. So we're putting the band together. We need a bass player. I was working at Pop-Up Video, and I knew this guy Jens, who was this great, awesome, funny guy, and he was playing drums in a band that I actually later joined.
Okay.
Replaced him, but he also played bass, and it was like, I think we were talking about Cover Me Bad at that time. We were also talking about Prince, Prints, possibly doing like a Prince cover band called Prince.
Yeah,
I don't think we were really serious, but we liked the name. And
Maya Rudolph and another woman have a Prince cover band called
Princess, right?
Oh,
but actually,
there you go.
having the same name spelled differently is pretty genius. I know there's a band called Eagles that's spelled EIGULLS, which I think is just genius. But go ahead.
That's really good. Yeah. So Prince was around. We were thinking. There was talk about Steely Band, I think, later on. But
God, so many puns.
The road's not taken.
Yeah, but we ended up coming together, and I remember the early days being really amazing. I remember us wanting to play longer, like in between the sketches was not enough. People love Cover Me Bad. We love Cover Me Bad. To be honest, with all the bands I've been in, maybe the other guys could say the same thing. People love Cover Me Bad way more than our original music. I think just because they know the songs, they could sing along, like we were saying, to the trombone. It's nostalgic. It's cheesy in like a really, like those power ballads work, but also, so for me, my favorite would be like the songs where the trombone stood out against like the band, like something like Black Dog, where there's a melody and then the band,
drops
or
out.
War Pigs was another one.
Oh God, yeah.
We have a story about War Pigs that we should probably tell. But basically, we grew up, we were friends, played music. Then we went to KGB, did the comedy show. Then we went to Galapagos, where we had to play at conversation level. And then I found this gig opening for heavy metal karaoke. And that was like kind of like the perfect combination of music and acts. And we got written up in the Village Voice.
Yeah.
And that helped bring a lot of people there. And just tried to fill in some of the stuff so you don't have to cut this thing together.
Right.
Yeah, that's Greg's a producer. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
I remember we were playing at Arlene's the week that they made smoking in bars illegal, and so one week it smelled like a bar, and then I remember the first week where smoking wasn't allowed, and you smelled like 30 years of whatever was in that place.
Of Uncle Funkle. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
And it was unbelievable. Yeah.
What year was that?
So
Because I remember when it happened in San Diego at a New Year's show at midnight. Everybody had to go outside and smoke. And for me, with sensitive eyes, I couldn't have been happier.
Probably
but whatever.
I would 2002, 2003.
Oh yeah, later.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think ours was 97.
I remember walking out of that club after that, and all the smokers being out there, and me being like, "Oh, like."
There's my fresh air. Nice.
No, it was a really great. It was such a great band because I mean, there were times that it out and out sucked, but whatever. And there were other times when I was like, I had like chills, and I've never had that with other I've been in a lot of cover bands that are going to produce we do weddings and stuff like that,
Sure.
and it's fun, but there's an expectation of it either sounds like the song or it doesn't, and it's that's how people are kind of using it as the basis of measure, faithful reenactments. It's like you either did it right or wrong, not good or bad,
Right.
but Cover Me Bad
Did it bad.
ranged from bad to not so bad. And when we were not so bad, it was pretty good.
I would think that.
But yeah, it was
that-
really, really fun because it was
that-
such a weird act.
I would think that because it's got an element of novelty or whatever you want to call it, that people would have we refer to the people that want it to be note perfect as the clipboards, people who come in and want it to be perfect, and I love fucking with them more than anything. So almost all my bands are to piss off purists, basically. So, but I think surely you must have had people walk in, especially in New York, where people can take music so seriously, see what you guys were doing, shake their head and walk out. Did you get negative? Because to me, it just seemed like what I didn't quite get to is when I saw that there was covermebad.com was taken, my initial response was, oh shit. And then I saw what it was, and I was like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I cannot get mad at this at all. So more power to you. And then it must not have been too long after, maybe a year or two. I wasn't I'm not good at anything regularly, but I must have been checking every once in a while to see if you guys still had it, because at some point you didn't, and so I took it. Yeah.
We, 03. We were done. I left New York in 03. So that's
Now,
and
but then
and-
we reformed
Yeah.
September 17th, 2004, as the rehearsal dinner for before my wedding.
Holy
And,
shit. I'm how do you know the date? How do you know my birthday, first of all? But go ahead. September 17th?
Because it's also my cat's birthday, September 18th. Oh, and I guess my
wow.
wedding anniversary. But no, it's the night before I got married.
There's
so
the
but then, and Greg had the dubious honor of being the drummer in both bands. I reunited two defunct bands in St. Louis, a city that I didn't live in. I had to rent equipment, and everyone got there. It was amazing.
That was where your wedding was.
But yeah, so what happened? We did. Who went on first? Cover Me Bad went on first, or did Funko go on first? This is like
I think Cover
who's
Me
going to go
Bad
on first?
went
Hey,
first.
this is going to be Hendrix or the Monkees. Hendrix or the Monkees.
There was a coin toss at Monterey, either the Who or Hendrix. And
Yeah, exactly.
Same idea.
To go back to your point as far as did people give us shit? I think because we started in the comedy show and we had a trombone, and it was we always showed love to the tunes. And we always kept it loose. I mean, I certainly never played. I could do lead singer stuff and do it different every time, and then I could hop back and be a part of the band and play backgrounds and stuff. And it was always really loose. It was, the best parts. But actually, the best parts sometimes were look, we even learned that lick. Ha ha ha. And Jesse and Marc were just every time they played something that was accurate, they'd start laughing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know all this all too well. It's there's that fine line of watching people who take it too seriously and loving that you get to be in something where it doesn't. But then when something actually is right, you're like, oh, this is actually great. And obviously you're all talented, and I'm almost not surprised that you guys have, you know, such a deep musical background to be able to pull off these songs, because some of them are plenty hard for sure.
Yeah, some of the 80s songs have like crazy arrangements and stuff.
Easy Lover?
Easy Lover.
Oh, right, we did that
We Built
one.
the City. Some of those are...
We Built the City is it's a beast.
But,
Yeah. You know what would have been? You know what would have been a good one that we didn't do that I played? Rosanna. That would have been a good one.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a tough one for sure.
So I think like musicologically, like another big thing that made it really fun was twin guitars, and like that was so. It freed both of them up, and Greg and I, like the other band that the three of us were in, we only had one guitar at a time, so that was like a really different, exciting thing for us, and we felt like, I don't know, Greg and I probably felt, oh my God, we can cover everything. We have two guitars. Like, what rock song does, you know? So that was great, and the two of them, Marc and Jesse, who's can't be here tonight for funny reasons. That was. They freed each other, I felt, a lot.
Nice. So
yeah, we have very differing styles.
What were you going to say?
I'm listening for more. I was going to move on to actual questions, but I'm kind of letting it go, and I'm loving this. You mentioned the opening for the punk rock karaoke. Were there other bigger gigs, favorite gigs that you guys think of immediately?
The most amazing...
My backyard once.
We did play in Mark's backyard. That's
prestigious, very prestigious.
The birthday party, yeah.
That's the one that that the Black Dog video came from. That's in online, right? Or a whole lot of
possibly. I was gonna get to Black Dog, but there's some club videos, and then there's some party, but it's all
great. It was
great.
Adam's wedding, right? It was your brother.
Yeah. The club video would be my brother's wedding. So that's the only time this cover me band ever played a wedding. All the other cover bands probably get a lot of gigs at weddings. We played one.
We also played the rehearsal dinner before.
Right.
Lest you forget.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that we had sort of we were basically house bands at 3 different clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like, so, and we never like, and that was fine for us. Like it was,
it kind of petered out. Like we had, that gig at this place, Arlene's Grocery, was just amazing. And after that, we had like a kind of thing going at Lakeside Lounge on Houston. But then there was a photo that one of you guys sent recently that was from Parkside Lounge, and that was like one of the earliest fledgling days of us before we had a regular anything. But it just kind of it was like good and it was good, and then they were on to the next thing.
How
it was
so then you moved, I think, Ryan. That was really it. Like,
yeah, we were playing, and it was a blast, and it was so fun. I mean, every week we got to play, and that's also a good recipe for getting tight.
Yeah.
Like we had bad nights, we had good nights, but like after a couple of years of doing it, I'm not saying it was like Hamburg or anything like that, but like we had
1,000 hours.
We had some
cavern. We played like didn't we play like a weird like porno theater on 42nd Street once?
I hope so.
Show World.
Yep. It was a giant red room next to Port Authority.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
and I remember this guy from Montana. Oh my gosh, I remember that. And, oh man, what a scene, man! New York. It was great.
Yeah, like it was weird. The weirdest part about that was when you had to go through the store, and the store clerk was like, "Hey, Greg, you're here early." Anyway,
like you were a regular enough to.
Yeah, thanks.
The usual,
right?
Thank you.
Well, what we do on our podcast is we kind of rank stuff from a favorite album. So I definitely wanted to ask you guys, like, what your least favorite song maybe that you guys did in this set was. That's always kind of the hardest one for us because usually we're all full of love. But do you have one that you were like, if we can never do this one again? So we've got Mark already nodding yes.
And not because I don't love the song, it just never was good. It was Don't Bring Me Down by ELO. It just never came together. I don't know why. All the right elements.
I have my first guess, Mark. What key is that song in?
I would guess A.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, we both said that too.
Yeah.
But we probably did it in E. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there certain keys
I
that
immediately go to the part where it's like, oh, it must have been because I sounded like I was playing the trombone and not like singing it. And a weird key for the trombone would be A. So Mark, we should still try it, dude.
We should still try.
But now it's so funny because I'm picturing how would that sound with a trombone, which I've never had to do with any band ever. But now,
A?
oh yeah, how would that be? Oh, here we go.
That wasn't my fault.
Well,
That's
because
amazing.
I mean that. I think it was it in Spinal Tap. Was it A minor? That's the saddest of the
D
keys?
minor.
D
D
minor.
minor.
That maybe is the key.
Hey, the hardest of keys
Right.
for trombone.
What about Greg and Ryan? Did you have any ones that you were like, I don't really need to do this one anymore? Or were they all kind of fun?
Oh.
You go ahead, man. I
didn't love Just What I Needed. It's a good song, but I don't.
yeah.
Trying to think.
Did you do the keyboard riff on the trombone, Ryan?
Ba-boo da da, ba-boo da, boo da. No, that was our Toxic Twins, man. They were amazing. Because they would go da-boo da ba, bo-bo-bo da. You're just what I needed.
But that
We would
Then the end. I had like the whammy bar and the wah-wah pedal.
God,
Oh my god.
that's amazing.
No, I just stuck to the vocals on that. Yeah, Greg, I don't know. Did you always just have a good time?
I always had a good time. Yeah, it was.
Me too.
I thought the
Me
band
too.
was hilarious. Like so many
Yeah.
bands take themselves so seriously,
Right.
and Cover Me Bad was just funny.
Like Mark and Jesse's curmudgeon was only like that deep, and the rest of it was like a good time.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned some of like your favorites being ones where like maybe everybody dropped out. What are some of your other favorites?
Wait, I want to say the bad ones. We did Hollow. Can we just accentuate
Negative
the
emotions
for
are
one
stronger.
more
Go
second?
ahead.
Another song that we had high hopes for that like just it didn't work out because we're totally.
It was too bad for us.
It was that Hall & Oates song, like I Can't Go For That.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, I think
No.
it changes key.
Really?
It changed key. We did it like once, and we just it's like
Yeah.
when the vocals come in, it goes easy with the bit. It changes key there, and we just didn't. So we kept it in the same keys, and it just sounded terrible. Like. None of us thought to go and listen to the song. We were like, yeah, we know it. We're coming
I mean,
back.
there were a lot of like we would because we would be coming back the next week. There were definitely tunes that were like, let's give it a try, and we'll be back next week. And there were probably some innocent victims as a part of that process.
That's a good
Like the
term
first
for it.
time we played Easy Lover was I bet that was. We were like, and probably Greg was like, they're like, yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, because that
Close
has some
enough.
like half choruses and some like just strange bridges.
Oh man, well that's all that. Yeah, so we did them off the record so many times that like some of them, like and anyone who's been in a band called Cover Me Bad knows it's like you get to learn so much stuff because they're like, oh, this has a quarter of a chorus and in this weird key, and then it comes back. So that was really
Video Killed the Radio Star. That intro, because that's like such a keyboard arrangement, and I'm like just a blues rock dude who had to like figure that out on guitar. It was really like it kind of it pushed me to places I didn't know I could go.
And Come On Irene. Come On Irene is also like that.
Yeah,
Eileen.
Says the pop-up video guy. I'm so.
I know. I wouldn't be able to let that
because I
slide.
thought it was
Also-
I always thought
also
Irene Cara sung "Come On, whatever."
That's a missed
See,
opportunity
that's the
if I
best
ever
part
heard
about
one.
playing trombone. He didn't need to know the words. He could just.
Oh no, that was
See 'em right through.
that was.
Oh my
that was
God!
pumping Irene at
Seriously,
Greg's
that's
house.
incredible. I mean, one of the main bands that we still do after all these years is where we dress up as old men, and I can screw up as much as I want, and people think it's part of the act. It's by accident the most genius way of being able to fuck
amazing.
up constantly, and no one
Yeah,
cares.
we definitely got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We got away with murder.
Yeah.
We did a high concept cover once. We did Last
All of our
Night
stuff was
into American.
high concept.
No, it was Last Night into American Girl, which
I can't
was like
believe-
the same song basically, and
Yeah.
that was around the time that the Strokes were kind of blowing up, and it was a little
Yep.
bit of a dig at them. I'm not gonna
That's-
lie, but it was also we also liked them. to be
That's
fair.
amazing. I can't believe that you just said that in this week of all weeks. My original band, around 2002, recorded a mashup that I'm going to send you guys of that. And
No way.
I've found like 20 people that have done it as a medley, but no one's done it like we did it. And I finally put it on YouTube for randomness like 3 days ago. I can't believe you just said
Nice.
that. That is so insane.
Nice.
I was on the phone with
Yeah.
Verizon of all people, and it took me to a call center in Argentina with some kid who made some joke about me not being that old, and I was literally getting geezer stuff together. So I had like a bedpan in one hand and like a walker in the other. And he's like, "Oh, that's so great. Do you guys play any Strokes?" I'm like, "Yeah, we do." And for whatever reason, I couldn't send him a link. I couldn't find it, and I'm like, I should just put it on YouTube after all these years. So that's so great that you guys were doing it in New York of all places too, where they were like
I wanna see
Godhead. That's so funny. I'll definitely send it to you. That's so funny.
Yeah,
Any other
yeah.
favorites?
Being born in a comedy show, like a lot of our tunes were like, "What's gonna crack people up?" So like we would do like Madonna tunes and like I don't know if we ever do a Meatloaf tune, but we did like,
God.
but we did like a lot of tongue-in-cheek pop tunes, oh, Man in the Mirror was a killer. Yeah, that was that, and with the keychain, I mean, it was so exciting.
Right.
And yeah,
I guess my main question about the concept of the band and what brings me back to Black Dog is, it didn't seem like it got old for you guys, because that clip of Black Dog, I'm sure whenever you played it, you'd probably been playing it many times, and I'm laughing just even saying it, but it gets to the breakdown, and Ryan, you're doing that, bah, 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 and you can see the other guys in the band.
See that shit, man, with his hand? He's doing
Yeah,
that.
the other guys in the band
That's air
have,
burning.
have their heads down because they can't look at each other, because it's still funny after however many times you guys have played it. And that's my favorite part of that clip. It's literally one of my favorite clips on the internet is that maybe 30 seconds of you guys doing Black Dog and the rest of you guys behind Ryan trying not to crack up, because that is like, especially our old man act, we're trying to crack each other up, and it's like, oh my God, don't look at each other, because we'll all start laughing, and it's so great. It's fucking
I mean,
amazing.
look, there's something about Ryan's technical ability, which
Yeah.
we could go on and on about, but having having the guts to go out there, and like we would do things like All Night Long, which is like another like really
Okay.
that song like
Complicated.
has so many parts to it.
Yes.
And, but like
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's the lick. But yeah.
it's amazing, So it was just it was funny because you wouldn't, we'd be at like it's like a rock show, so you've got big blaring guitars, but you wouldn't really hear that
look, man.
song. And a singer to do that would be quite a feat.
Yeah.
Look, man. Look, I've known ever since I saw Greg in Little Abner. A
seminal
Yeah.
moment in your life. Yes.
Yeah, well, I was
time we've talked about this.
I think you just
hold on.
canceled Greg.
My dad was a cabaret pianist, a show tunes guy, and so I grew up like singing show tunes, and like by the time I was in college, it was like, I mean, I never had I just like could get up there and ham it up and do it. So like, I definitely didn't want to do that, like, so, but I could play the horn, and so for me, it was like that. That's why I never noticed that the guys were laughing behind me.
I mean, you're obviously an accomplished musician. You're a music teacher at Ithaca. Do you recognize that there is something funny about the trombone? Can you, or is it like, because there's so many, there are serious trombone
players.
Something funny
about you, man.
No, there's something funny about the sound. I was thinking that as you were talking, like, so we grew up in a band, and Ryan was one of 3 very talented horn players, and that's how most people are used to hearing the trombone. There are some solo trombonists. Who's that guy from Germany? Who played with Jaco?
Albert Mangelsdorf.
Albert Mangelsdorf. So
there's like a 30 or 64 bar trombone solo in I'm Coming Out, I'll have you know.
There you go. But I guess you're not normally used to hearing it. I think we all could agree as a lead instrument.
Yes.
So the lead trombone is maybe
But when it leads, it's leading the parade. I mean, it's the Pied Piper.
Come on, man. Come on. Yo, also for us, actually, it's real. One of the reasons it works with Cover Me Bad is because the trombone is a tenor instrument, and it like tenor and alto, which is where all these songs are sung. So I used to play most of the time. I would play in the exact same octave as where, most of the time. I mean, sometimes I'd have to drop it an octave, but like, maybe on, no, Radar Love, I kept it right where it was.
Oh, that was so fun.
So that's one of the reasons why the whole thing worked, is because on some level I felt like the guys were all kind of hearing the same sort of thing, albeit with a little funniness. But like, if I was doing it in different octaves, or it was, godforsaken clarinet or something, it would feel, I don't know, I guess not so funny.
I mean, but yeah, people are expecting to hear in their brain, they're hearing a person about to sing, and you're doing it in the exact right range, and you're extremely talented. So it's not like, oh, well, he's not really playing it this, but like, no, you're playing it exactly right, and the band is playing it really great too, and that's again a whole other level. And I have lots of friends in my bands too, where it's like, it might be, the overall concept is there's comedy, but holy shit, they're actually really good musicians, and that's a whole other level, which is great.
Well, another thing is like stuff that's like really high for a singer to sing, especially a guy, is also really high for the trombone to play. So you could like, so that was enough, and which is oftentimes like what people want to hear with a vocalist, is like them struggle and still get the notes and stuff like that. So
awesome.
So, Greg, is there any keys that are really hard for you to play in?
On the drums.
Maybe that's why I was always laughing, because it's like so easy. I know all these songs.
Is there any particular like modes that trip you up, or chord inversions?
Greg is such a great drummer, man.
Yeah,
Greg is such a great drummer. Yeah, that's why Black Dog never got tired. Let's be real.
Are you doing music in Nashville?
No, I should be, right.
I just assume everyone I know that goes to Nashville is doing it because they're a musician. And funny enough, our longtime bass player and geezer is now the lead singer of Smash Mouth, and their main songwriter is a guy named Greg who moved to Nashville. So I'm sure there's more than one Greg in there, but
it's awesome here, and I am playing music, but not in a professional setting. But actually, Mark just recently visited, and we got to jam together. That was fun. But,
I was just telling Adam that this was a very timely contact, because you just
found the blog again. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So a few years, and I've been meaning to do this for forever, because I kept finding other Cover Me Bads, even though we don't really use the name that much. It's just a name I attach to all the other bands I do. But I always thought it'd be funny to rank them. And so finally one day I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to do it. And I obviously know who my favorite was going to be. It was going to be you guys. There's like no question at all. And I tried to contact. Yes, I tried to contact every single.
My audio cut out. Do go on, sir.
But by the best, I mean the best with a capital THEE. And I tried to contact everyone to let them know that I had done this list, and I can't remember if I was able to find one of you guys when I did it, however long ago that was. But I wasn't sure if you'd ever read it or not, but apparently you had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We loved it.
That's
we read it.
amazing.
We sent it on Facebook at one point in a message, a group message. And then when Mark was out, I sent it to him. I kind of pulled it up again, and we like looked at it again. It was really great. We were really touched to see it and to see that all the detail. I have some questions for you about Cover Me Bad. Like,
Sure.
who's the most popular Cover Me Bad? Who do you think is making the most? Bank?
I think that there was a California wedding band on that list, and they seem to really be like, we're the #1 wedding band in Sacramento or something like that. They had a very slick website, so I'm guessing that's the one. Like, and it's so funny because I've always been told, if you guys did something straight, if you guys were a tribute band, we could probably get you booked a lot more, because I'm always trying to put our comedy bands out there and clubs don't get it. Like, I don't know if you guys ever went through that. Like, I could only imagine trying to sell some uber serious New York,
Maybe if you were a Color Me Bad tribute band,
yeah, to do a medley of all 3 hits. Or
Oh,
whatever.
2 songs. Yeah.
Right. Well, funny enough, we somehow ended up on a radio show with them, maybe like 3-4 years. It was right before pandemic. Geezer got to open up for Color Me Bad at this huge stadium show. It was like Young MC, Vanilla Ice, Color Me Bad, and Geezer opened, and it was so much fun. So much fun. But yeah,
That's awesome.
didn't get to meet the man, the myth. I don't know how many original members there are left, but I mean, like,
I'm
so
glad to hear
strange.
one of them's alive at least. That's great.
Right.
That's amazing.
Oh,
Imagine
man.
trying to explain to them, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, I'm
So
sure.
it'd be like Joe Pesci, like, "You think I'm funny?
Right, exactly.
Just a joke to you? My life's work is just a joke to you?"
Right, exactly. Holy moly.
Oh my gosh. Wasn't Kenny G in that band?
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Because like we, in the very first time that I did cover
Guy
Me
with
Bad
the-
in San Diego,
the
we had a poster
Soul
behind
Glow?
me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm the Kenny G guy," and they got the biggest laugh of the entire night. It was when I pointed to that guy and said the Kenny G guy. Oh, that's so funny. Holy shit.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
about how long do you think you guys played? A few years, it sounds like.
I'm
usually-
gonna say-
I thought I always kept every email, but I think I changed email addresses around like 2004 or something. So I don't
yeah.
have anything. So all I was finding was like the last reunion, and then we did like some talks of reunion. But
Yeah,
I would
99
say the
99
answer's
to
really, Ryan, when
2003.
did you move?
Yeah, 99 to
That's when you moved.
2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm
but
wondering,
we've been, but different combinations of us had been playing together since we were kids. So, and that doesn't die. I mean, that's honestly, like, that's a very big part of this is and the truth is like the band the 7-piece that the 3 of us were part of with also had a lot of humor in it too. Like, so it was, that this stuff had been brewing, and we've been doing funny stuff together since we were kids.
Well, and like Greg was saying, he was in a band with Jesse and Jens that was short-lived, but you and Jens have like a long history too of like being in kind of Girl Harbor and
Girl Harbor.
there's a lot of like Girl Harbor.
Good name.
great name. Jesus Christ.
Good band.
Yeah, what kind of
Jens
stuff?
and I-
What kind of stuff
Those
does Girl
guys-
Harbor
that
do?
band-
Canceled because of Little Abner.
Yeah.
Yo, Greg, talk to us about Girl Harbor.
I mean, it was just it was a rock. We rocked. It was a rock band.
Uh-huh.
We were born to rock, but we were forced to fuck, I think is one of the songs. I mean, it was pretty good. And Jens and I were that's actually how I got in the band. I think James and Jeff had seen Cover Me Bad. He was like, they play well together. Let's see if Greg wants to be in Girl Harbor.
Oh my god.
And, yeah.
That was a good band.
Thank you. I think the main thing I think was that, again, we were all friends. We all shared the same sense of humor, but we also grew up with like the same songs on the radio. We kind of had the same well of tunes that we would pull from. And Jens, he didn't grow up with us, but he fit right in because he also had the same reference points. And he was also really funny. And those two things really kind of helped the band, I think.
Was the last time that all five of you...
I think...
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Jens kind of came from a different whole thing, because just musically, kind of like much more punk rock, and like, I'm not punk rock, and I don't think Jesse is, and I don't know how either of you two would rank yourselves. I would probably say you're not very either, but Jens is sort of like, he was very efficient in just getting us to be like, that's good, let's move on to the next one. I was like, oh, it doesn't have to be so, like, and it was really kind of a good thing. Like, we were able to kind of be freer because of it.
It sounds like you said, like, you guys, when you hung out in Nashville, you got to play together. Is the last time all five of you were together at your wedding? Is that like the last thing you think, maybe? Or
the five of us.
Yeah,
at that backyard thing.
It's been a long time, man. It's been a long
at the
time.
backyard, at Mark's backyard, I think was the last one, which was like 2014, 13.
Yeah, we should play again, man. We should play again.
You know what it was? I was just telling Adam that we could find out that year probably by just going to YouTube. But I remember Jesse Fuchs, who took the video, had just gotten the iPhone 4, which had like HD video, and we were like, oh, so that's why he was filming all of it. So like he was like the first one to get it that day. He like stood online.
Nice.
So I've been saying that we should play at John Schnapp's Shuffleboard Club. That would be a great spot. Great spot.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds amazing.
I don't know what that is either.
Royal Palm Shuffleboard in Gowanus, Brooklyn. Yep.
And they have
Jonathan Schnapp doesn't even know about it either. But no.
So
I would play with these guys any day. I miss it all the time. I always am talking. Oh, I should get some kind of quintet or something like here, and I play like pop tunes and whatever. And I'm like, man, I could do that, but like it would not be.
It's the kind of thing like if I found myself
would not be the same.
If I found myself in Ithaca, like I wouldn't think to go there without a guitar, like I'd tell you, Ryan, better secure one. Like,
yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that
Adam, I promise, Adam, we'll let you know if we play again, and it will happen.
I would fly out for that for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm a little disappointed we couldn't get the all original five, but I know they've got things. What are they doing with? Are either of the other guys playing music still? Do you think?
Oh, yeah. Jesse and I made a record together over. You should. It's called 1111.
What is that?
It's called You're My 1111.
Okay.
And it's out there. Jesse put it out there, and it's real good. It was like a pandemic project.
Okay.
And Jesse's always, he's still like writing quirky tunes, and I don't know what his day job is, if he's still creating predominantly like online material. If that's his gig, I'm sure Levin and Greg would know better. But anyway, that's a pretty good tune.
Postable.com. He like found. He's like he's a serial entrepreneur and like who hates to work. So that's it. It's an
really,
internal
really
strife. Yeah,
good songwriter.
In fact, like, yeah, he had
music's the only thing I love, but my dad wants me to. What is it?
Yeah, the richer my dad gets, the more uncomfortable I feel. That was from
the richer my dad.
The Vitamin.
It's my
which
favorite
is a
Morrissey
wonderful
song.
pop trio.
And then there's I'm half hard.
I'm
shooting
squishies
sushi
at a bar.
And every time
I push, my penis hits the toilet double
layer.
So I mean, these songs write themselves, but it takes it's like when Michelangelo.
Michelangelo,
when they said, "How did you carve David?" Out of marble, and he goes, "David was always in there. I just revealed him." That's what Jesse's like with the song.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So,
oh my god, amazing!
But yeah,
so I'm having you guys
and
on.
Jens is curling Jens is
Yeah,
curling
that was
tonight.
I couldn't tell because I already knew you guys had a sense of humor. It's like, is that a oh, I'm washing my hair excuse, or was he actually curling tonight and that's why he couldn't be there?
I'm sure it was real.
I'm sure he is. He's a straight shooter. Not prone to hyperbole, but also like, you know, I don't know. He moved to Rhode Island, became went from punk rock to family man. Maybe he's punk dad. I don't know how they do it up there.
Straight edge throughout his journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually remembers more about Cover Me Bad than all the rest of us, I would say.
That's how I am with a lot of my bands because I was never straight edge without politics, but yeah, for sure. So a huge honor to have you guys here, and I have to ask the question that brought us here, which is we're doing a podcast about our least favorite and most favorite cover songs of all time. And I know I didn't give you guys more than a day or two to think about it, but do any of you have a least favorite cover song off the top of your head? Being experts?
I didn't prepare for that one, but I have one that just popped in my mind right now.
Yes.
I think I don't know who does it. It's Free Your Mind and the Rest Will Follow, which is a cover of the Parliament. Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow.
Oh, and Vogue.
We've already broken
Vogue.
We've already broken the ass barrier. We don't need to censor. Like the ass has been exposed, people. So conceptually, I was like, at the time, I'm like,
Would that even be a cover? Yeah.
I don't care about your positive message, ladies.
Ryan's doing the breakdown.
Bravo on that. But, yeah.
Before you can something, you gotta learn how to see me.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Is that even a cover? I guess reinterpolation.
It's
What's
borrowed.
the word
It's borrowed. Yeah.
God, I'm in researching. I started researching last night about when covers and standards became a thing and different. My brain is on overload right now with
Tin Pan Alley, right?
Yeah, exactly. When was a cover a big deal? If it was just they were just selling sheet music and everyone was in the world was sitting around the piano and covering it, and I'm sure that's its own podcast. But that's where my brain's at right now. So it's nice to free myself. With
player
some
pianos were just the original cover band.
Right.
Greg, you got one? You gonna hate on one?
I can't let this podcast go without saying that it's not a hate, it's a love. We played an important cover of Keep on Rockin' in the Free World. And you can see they both realized, as I said it, it was right before 9/11 happened. We had a gig the night before on 9/10. We played that night, and we played it long. It was weird. We played it long and hard. And I remember looking up and we weren't really a jam band.
Talk about
but everyone was just in a mood. I remember it. It was red and it was psychedelic. And Jens was going crazy. And it was an awesome version. And then just hours later, the towers went down, and that's probably the saddest Cover Me Bad story we have.
Oh my gosh!
Cover Me Sad.
Cover Me Sad.
Cover Me
with two D's. With two D's.
I think. Look. I could take us out real quick out of this bad mood.
Yes.
I think Jessica Simpson did a terrible job of "Take My Breath Away."
Oh wow, I've never heard that one. I thought you were gonna say "Boots Were Made for Walking." I think she did that one too. Oh, okay, good to know.
She didn't do. She brought out the worst parts of the song, which the best thing about the song is the
riff.
You can get over it, but she was just like, that's the Top Gun song. I'm gonna riff that up just so that one sticks out.
That's so great. Yeah, funny enough, Geezer opened up for Berlin about a year ago, and what did we open with? "Take My Breath Away," which is you should not play the headliner's song, but that's what Geezer does. So, how about a favorite cover?
Nice.
Favorite covers, whether it's what you guys did or just somebody else.
So I've given this some thought, and I want to just dive in a little bit, and Greg's going to help me out a tad.
Okay.
So a lot of as someone who plays an instrument that kind of is orchestral at times, and and is curiously used sometimes in rock. I think about like, you know how Metallica like linked up with the San Francisco Symphony and they did these orchestral recordings. Okay. And it was like, certainly not as good. Like, it was like, okay, cool. They're doing it with an orchestra, but it's not like rocking me harder than when they did it, you know, without it. Probably because, half the reason is because these people don't feel it in the orchestra. So then there's like, and this is why I need your help, Greg, is like, what's that, you know, that Neil Young album that A Man Needs a Maid, and it's got like those Jack Bruce, right? Those thick orchestrations.
Jack Nietzsche or
Jack Nietzsche, yeah. And I remember reading that it was like, this guy like convinced Neil to like make it like these lush orchestrations, and it's like dum bum bum bum. It was like, oh man, the timpani, man, just get back to Neil and his
crazy,
and so that's tough to do. It's tough to like get that balance. And so to come around, I would say that my favorite cover is the reverse process on a tune that a rock pop tune that tried to get real heavy by making it orchestrally scored, when in fact the band just needed to rock harder. And so Guns N' Roses' "Live and Let Die" I like better than the original timpanied out flute version.
Wow.
There it is.
I'm
Sorry, Paul.
I can't believe how many things you guys are bringing up that relate to something in my life. Last night I asked my girlfriend, I'm like, well, what's your most or least favorite cover? And she's like, well, my least favorite is "Live and Let Die" by Guns N' Roses.
Great.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
What about another
Did
favorite?
they do the
from you guys?
They didn't do the reggae part in that song, did they?
They
do the reggae
certainly
Oh,
did.
my
They
God.
certainly did. And
But
that
did they
part
really
is
do
not
it,
as
though?
good. That part is not as good. He
They
had.
just break it down to the halftime. They don't really.
They
do the reggae
did.
part. There's
They
no, like,
did.
They did.
They
man.
did. But yeah, no, that's not as good.
But have you seen the "Gimme Some Reggae" thing that they did? Do you know about that?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm making a note to send you that one too. In the middle of their version of "Knocking on Heaven's Door," at their height, Axl would scream, "Give me some reggae," and then they would do like a little bit of ska, and it became a meme. So just that one little note of him saying that, someone looped for 10 hours or whatever, but it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. So one of my other bands, we dress as Guns N' Roses, and we do Stone Roses songs, the British band Stone Roses, and which not big in America, but we play England. So, but we worked that into the set 3 different times because it is the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened ever. Oh God.
Well,
All right.
The least favorite cover song would be Corey Feldman's version of "Stand By Me." Look it up on YouTube.
Yes.
Sorry, Corey. You're a nice guy, and I've met you, and you're actually a really good guy. But I don't like that song, brother.
What about you, Mark? Did you have a favorite or least favorite? Or you already said your.
I mean, I'm not known for my positive outlook on anything, so I usually accentuate the negative. But
Yes.
So I've got plenty. So many
Pulls out.
American Woman by Lenny Kravitz is just the worst song ever. Just really, really, really terrible.
Yeah.
And the original is such a great one. But I digress. Okay, I have a song that I really loved. Finding out that it was a cover twice.
Yeah.
So I always loved the Allman Brothers. Greg, it's one of your best work. Live at the Fillmore East. They do a version. They do "You Don't Love Me," and it's a really great song and has this like amazing guitar breakdown between Dwayne and Dickie, and it's like it's awesome. It's like I think it's like the standout song on there. And then years later, I heard that song, No, 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 dun, like, you don't love me and I know. It's a Jamaican song from like the 60s. And it's like, you know it. I'm doing a terrible version. No, no. And it's the same song, but both are covers of an old blues song by a guy named Willie Cobbs, which is not such a great song in my opinion. But they
made it
so
better.
I love them for like two different reasons, and may you never have to hear me sing again.
Yeah,
like
that's
it.
actually a little glimpse into how we would suggest songs for Cover Me Bad. We'd be like,
Yeah.
hey, you know that one? And just, and then Ryan, Yeah.
Amazing. And what about Greg and Ryan? Did you have a favorite that you have off the top of your head?
Favorite cover song?
Sure.
Shit. I have one. No, I don't. I don't have a favorite one that I can.
You can
think of
submit
right
it
off the top
later.
of my head.
That's fine.
Anything by Joe Cocker. Just
Well, actually, I heard "Piece of My Heart" by Janis Joplin the other day, and I was like, that would have been a good one for Cover Me Bad because it's Ryan and Janis and the trombone. It would work. I think his personality
Wow,
and that
yeah.
and the key that it's in. Ryan, am I wrong?
I don't know what I would. I probably for the scream, I probably would have pulled the horn off my face.
no, it's
I
an,
probably
it's
would
an
have
E,
just.
and it's got a good.
I probably
dual
would have
guitar
just
at
gone,
the beginning intro.
Right.
Which I did sometimes. Yeah, I probably would have just screamed, and that I don't know how that would have gone over, but
Were there
I think it
ever?
should be illegal to cover "We Did Start This Fire." Nobody should ever cover that song.
Yeah.
we did that. We didn't do that, right?
No, we
Did you?
didn't. It's
Like-
only like two.
But who
notes,
just did?
Right? It's like
Fall Out
Yeah.
Boy. Fall Out Boy just did, and everyone's hating that. Were there ever background vocals in Cover Me Bad?
No, there was no one. Did anyone ever join us for
Just-
anything?
Here and Matt once played saxophone a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah,
Once a couple of times. Yeah.
yeah. Not much.
Okay. Because something you just said made me think if there was ever a call and response, but instead of a vocal, it was a trombone, that would be even like more
I-
hilarity. I could see.
I
Like,
have it. I know the time we did it. We did.
Yeah.
What are you talking?
It was the.
Oh,
it was
Kier,
for
Kier.
Clark Neringer's.
Yeah.
Who's our friend's late great father.
Get ready.
It was Rare Earth. I just want to celebrate, which actually
I just wanna
is a cover of another of like a an earlier song, and that where it has that psychedelic part where we're like I just want to celebrate. I think we did have some barely audible singing there for that
Yes.
one time.
Rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, awesome.
I've got. Well, I don't know. I'd like to know what Greg and Mark thought of our cover of "With or Without You."
That was without a doubt one of those ones that your everyone's hair was standing up. Like we really for some reason we could command the presence. We would do like a big rave up Black Dogs or whatever. Funk 49s.
Oh my god.
And then, people would be going nuts and would just be like, and we'd take it down. And Ryan just would be like, because that song is such a slow build.
And you give.
It was great. We
Oh my
killed that every
God.
time we played it. We didn't do it that often, but that was amazing.
And I would sing. I would sing at the end of the tune. I would go.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's almost like the more earnest the song was, the funnier it
Look, yeah,
had a
it
chance
was
of
great.
becoming.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly. I'm having a hard time coming up with my absolute least favorite, and the what I keep trying to think of is what is a song that shouldn't be earnest, but someone made it earnest, And so you the fact that you said the word earnest, and how people think that can be funny is you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it on the head. Like
I really need you tonight.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's already like dramatic, but something that like should not be.
Like,
Like,
Sherry, like he's belting
Like
it
Oh
out.
Sherry.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that you guys.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know why in that thing where I was ranking all the different Cover Me Bads. It just seemed like maybe
Sherry spelled with a G.
Right.
No,
I think when a couple people I think I went to like 3 or 4 of them and they were all had "Don't Stop Believing" in their video. So I'm like, I think I'm going to make that a category to judge them all by. And then I'm like, I wonder if they did it. But I'm like, no, but they did Oh Sherry, which was so great. Like, yeah, no G and Oh Sherry. I'm glad you appreciated that joke from 10 years ago that I read. That's so funny.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
That's
My
great.
God.
Well, I don't know if forgive me if I'm stating the obvious, but we play Oh Sherry because Mark's wife is Sherry.
Ah, nice. Oh my gosh, that's so great. And does she love or hate that song?
Oh, she loves it. Yeah.
She loves it.
Oh,
There's
and
a lot
then-
of, there, by the way, there's a lot. Don't forget, there's Sherry, baby.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
My also like my Sherry or more. So yeah, there's a
Sure.
lot.
Oh yeah, she's got a few. Lucky her. That's so funny. I'm always
But it's
curious.
her, I believe it had always been her favorite of all of them because it had Steve.
And-
Oh, Sherry by Steve Perry.
And then Mark
Weird
plays, the solo all the time, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Well, I love you."
Yeah, good old Waddy Wachtel solo.
Oh,
there.
did he play on that?
He did.
Nice
Yes.
one.
Talk about canceled. Anyway, go look that up.
Oh yeah. I thought I heard about that. Jeez. Well, we can keep talking, but I'm going to wrap up the recording just because I know like this is I could listen to this kind of stuff all night because this is what I do, you know, for fun for 20 years. So to talk to three like-minded people about your experience, it's just so great, and I'm so glad that I was able to find you on such late notice too. Like you guys are saints for doing this. So thank you so much.
Oh,
we
thank
were,
you.
the first, we knew that you were a special cat when you not only like liked what we did, but then like took all the time to make it like that beautiful article. So we're really thankful for the love that you shared with us. It was great.
Thanks. Well, I'm so glad I found you. I mean, I didn't really say like I did message you when I found you. I don't know who responded, but I'm sure I messaged and through the website and said I was so ready to get this .com and you got it and I couldn't be happier and I love it. And I remember messaging when I went back and got it. I remember messaging that whatever old email address and saying like, I don't know what happened to you guys, but I got it and it's in good hands and whatever. Like I'll take that torch or whatever.
Yeah, it's not why we broke up. That's for sure. It wasn't like we don't even have to have the website anymore, man. It wasn't it.
Well, I hope that there's a reunion. I will 100% come out for it.
Me too. I hope there is too, guys.
Nice.
Yeah. Maybe
Awesome.
this
Yeah,
summer.
so make it happen. Yeah.
Well, thanks for talking to us.
Yeah.
Thank you.